The next gen is here, my friends. All the consoles are out, but where? Where are all the big franchises? Well, 2008, actually, if we're lucky. The next generation of gaming is here, with a slight delay. From Will Wright's ambitious Spore to the latest title to fall into gaming purgatory, Take-Two's Grand Theft Auto 4. Delays seem to be more commonplace. But it doesn't end there. Sony's lair for the PlayStation 3 will not be in stores this month as originally planned, and Midway's black site Area 51 has now been banished to November. Some industry analysts defend these delays, saying that development for these sophisticated modern consoles is more difficult than ever, and that the PlayStation 3 is the suspected main culprit behind the Grand Theft Auto 4 delay. As one of the few titles slated to be released on time, Microsoft's Halo 3, due in September for the Xbox 360, stands to be the big winner this fall. Are today's next-gen games too difficult to produce? Or do developers simply want their games to be perfect? Put down that hot coffee. It's The Loop. My guest tonight, Rebecca Swanner, senior gaming editor for Penthouse Magazine and contributing editor for Joystick.com. Kevin Kelly joins us. Welcome to The Loop, everybody. Let's start off with Grand Theft Auto 4. I mean, the delay seemed to come out of nowhere. It sent shockwaves through the industry last week. Rebecca, who's to blame for this?
Well, I know some analysts have been blaming the PS3 because supposedly it's this difficult system to develop for in comparison with the 360. But I think some of it might also have to do with strategy. I mean, this way, GTA 4 isn't going heads-to-heads with some of the hottest games that are coming out. Halo 3, Mass Effect. Unfortunately, now they'll be pinned against Metal Gear Solid. Very true. But, I mean, people were expecting Grand Theft Auto 4 to be one-third of all holiday game sales, really. And Kevin, now Take-Two stock is down 16%. I mean, does that seem really that strategic?
No, it doesn't seem strategic to me because we just saw this game at E3, and while what they showed off wasn't that impressive, it was not very smooth, and there were no people in it. They were reiterating the fact that they were going to be shipping this game on time, and here it is just 2-3 weeks later, and this is a big delay. This is the biggest one out of all of them, and it's really going to affect how this game is perceived, and when it comes out, nobody knows for sure right now. Well,
I don't necessarily think that's a good move for Rockstar. I mean, I still think, though, that it might have been part of their strategy, though, if they sort of take a step back and realize that their sales are going down. And with the Manhunt 2, being delayed indefinitely, I think, they're really sort of...
Well, ultimately, I think it hurts Microsoft the most because they were hyping their hat trick of video games for this holiday season, Halo 3, Madden 08, and then GTA 4. Now it's going to be down to 2. And there's a big group of people out there who don't like the Madden, they don't like Halo, and now they're not going to have the third big tier title to choose from.
But you don't think that'll boost sales? I mean, for people who have, only so much money to spend, you don't think that might boost sales?
I don't think there's people that were going to buy GTA 4 and not buy Halo that will now buy Halo because it's delayed. I think it's just going to hurt them in the end.
What about the Mass Effects and the BioShocks of the world, though, Kevin, here? I mean, could there be some strategy by saying, hey, just hold off, we don't need to compete with these guys?
There could be a Halo effect, if you will, of those other two titles getting more holiday sales, especially Mass Effect and BioShock, which are two of the most talked about ones right now, with people not spending their money somewhere else. This is going to be another
Kevin, what about what Rebecca said regarding the fact that the PlayStation 3 might be causing this slowdown? I mean, even at QuakeCon this weekend, John Carmack was saying that, hey, look, the PlayStation 3 is the console that seems to slow down development the most. I mean, could this become a larger issue for Sony?
It definitely could, and the PS3 is definitely affecting this. Not only these titles that we're talking about today, but Ghost Recon 2 was delayed on the PS3. Colin McRae's Dirt was delayed. Skate is delayed. And in some cases, this is only by a couple of weeks, but it still shows that developers are not quite there yet when it comes to the PS3. People have also had a little more lead time with the Xbox 360. It's been out longer. People are more familiar with the development kit, but developers like John Carmack have been complaining about how hard it is to develop these games on the PS3.
And I think that's going to really hurt Sony in the end. For example, I mean, what have they got, coming out really big this holiday season? Without GTA 4, they're left with what? Heavenly Sword and Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah. Well, in fact, recently Lair was even delayed as well. And then there was, of course, Black Site, Medal of Honor. Those have all been delayed as well. I mean, Rebecca, let me ask you, is this generation just really that hard to develop for? Or are we seeing really sloppy planning on the part of these publishers?
I think what might be coming into play is that maybe the marketers who are marketing these games are putting out unreal dates for Unreal release dates for these games, and maybe they haven't been consulting with the developers and what, how much time it really takes to develop a next-gen game.
That's definitely true. Yeah, there seems to be a pressure to release information and a title and a date right away because everyone wants to hype up this next new release, but then the developers are kind of left in the cold, like, well, we're not sure if we can deliver by this time, and that's what we're seeing right now with these delays. It's ultimately going to hurt the gamer at home who doesn't have anywhere to spend their money.
I mean, maybe these were, the dates that were going to come out anyway, even if the marketers hadn't said,
Well, let's talk about who is harmed really quickly, and then we'll make it kind of the final word here as we wrap things up. Start with you, Rebecca. I mean, should publishers actually bother with these release dates if they can't keep them? I mean, Kevin said it's hurting the gamer at home, but who else is it hurting and how?
I mean, I think it's sort of hurting everybody. I think it's definitely pissing off gamers, and I think that it's, as we've seen with Take-Two stocks, it's hurting them too. But I think that they've got to put out some release date, otherwise, there's not going to be a hype machine.
Right. Mm-hmm. Kevin, what do you think?
I kind of agree, although the fact that the GTA 4 is delayed, it might hurt Take-Two right now in the close term, but that's still going to sell millions of copies when it comes out. People want that game, and the fact that it's delayed, I don't think ultimately will hurt it. It hurts right now, and it gives sort of a negative reputation to Sony and the PS3 because they're kind of taking the blame as the scapegoat for this delay. But ultimately, I think it hurts the people that have been so excited about this. When a game gets delayed, they kind of start to get disappointed about that.
Sure, but if you're holding Take-Two stock, hang on to it a little while longer, basically.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Maybe buy a little bit more now that arrow's been going down on the graph.
Yeah,
right?
They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
All right, I want to thank my guests, Rebecca and Kevin, for joining us. Thank you guys for keeping us in the loop.
Attack of the Show, weeknights at 7, only on G4.